Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, and you're listening to Incredible Life Creator Podcast. My guest today is Dr. Diana Kirschner. Psychologist Dr. Diana Kirschner stars in an Amazon Prime TV special, Love in 90 Days, Finding Your Own True Love. Her bestseller, Love in 90 Days, is just out in its 10th anniversary edition. Through her acclaimed Love Mentor coaching team, Dr. Diana has helped tens of thousands all over the world to create greater self-love, empowerment, and lasting passionate soulmate relationships. Her free masterclass, The 3 Must-Know Secrets for Getting Love in Life You Really Want, is available at her website, loveinninetydays.com. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Diana.
I'm so excited to be with you, Dr. Kimberly. This is awesome.
Yes, and like many people who have been single on and off like me or single for a while, I would love to find out how to find love in 90 days.
Absolutely.
Yes. So let's start by you telling us a little bit about you. Like, where did you grow up? How did you start out? How did you get into this and learn all this?
Well, it's like most people, I didn't have love. I didn't have love. I was born the 5th daughter to an Italian patriarchal family that only wanted boys. So when I was born, my father didn't come to the hospital. He said, "Oh no, another girl, I don't want to see her." And so growing up, I felt like I didn't belong. I was certainly not lovable. I used to just walk outside the house and weep and weep. And what I was weeping about as a child was that my parents had this terrible misfortune to have me, that they had me. And so, and I didn't particularly see loving relationships around me either. So, I grew up into something where there wasn't much love. There wasn't much self-love. I was extremely unconfident. I was in terrible relationships with guys. Once I became a teenager, of course, I wanted the ones that didn't want me. It's like dad, right? So talk about crumbs, I would take anything, and never could make it work. And finally, at one point, this one guy dumped me. I was always being dumped, and we were actually engaged, and he dumped me, and I went into an extreme depression. And in that darkness, I said, there's got to be some information about love. There has to be such a thing as love, because poets talk about it, other people talk about it. So there has to be something love that is love. And so I studied everything I could get my hands on. I went, at those days, you go to the library. So I went to the library. And then I wound up getting a master's degree and a PhD in clinical psychology, and I studied everything I could get my hands on. And I learned, which is a miracle and incredible. And so I was able to meet and marry my amazing soulmate. We have a marriage that gets better and better over time, which is an extreme, crazy miracle. If you had told me that that's what would happen to me, I would have said you were insane. So that's all my work comes out of this is paying it forward, and we can talk more about this, but I did have a fairy godmother who appeared in my life. It was actually a man, but he was a fairy godmother.
And I just imagine a man with wings on.
With wings. But the thing is that he reparented me. He reparented me. It was not in any way romantic or sexual, but he reparented me. And he said, "Oh, you know what? You're brilliant. You know what? You're beautiful. You know what? You could be amazing in terms of what you could do in the world. And you're, valuable, and you belong here," and all the stuff that my soul needed to hear so that I actually was mute. I used to be socially phobic. I couldn't even talk to people, really. It's hard to believe, but I was mute. And so I actually took that in, began to take that in. I had him as a coach, and I took that in and had this profound healing and self-love that occurred, which allowed me to be with my husband, actually, because it was too weird to be with somebody who was loving and crazy about me when I wasn't. I wasn't loving and crazy about me.
Right. It's hard to love someone else when you don't love yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't work very well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really took that in, and it's the basis of all my, I have a team of love mentor coaches. They work with people all over the world. And that's, recreating that fairy godmother experience. It's actually recreating it, which means the world to me. This means the world to me, to be able to provide fairy godmothers.
Fairy godmother services.
Yeah. But it's like a practical fairy godmother. It's like a very, very, very practical. The fairy godmother knows where the prince is, knows where the ball is, knows I got to dress for the ball, knows all the apps and dating sites.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So once you were reparented by your fairy godmother, father, however you want to say it, so how did you meet your husband, and how was it different after being loved and learning to love yourself?
Well, he was different during that period when I met my husband. I actually met my husband. He was at school, and he was immediately crazy about me, which I was like, what the hell? So, of course, I was like desperately trying to get rid of him unconsciously, right? And my fairy godmother said, no. Don't push him away. Take it, learn to take it, learn to take it. And I would have just completely destroyed that relation. And I tried to, So, I mean, he was there at that formative time. I mean, there's no way in the world I would be married to this man without him. In fact, at certain points, it was out of this loyalty and love for my fairy godmother that I stuck it out. It's like, well, because that relationship was so profound and so healing. And then over time, my marriage became even more profound and more healing, right? And I used everything that I learned in the marriage. I mean, everything that I write about I use in my lab, every single thing. It is proven in the lab. It is proven with the love mentor coaches, and it's based on research too. So, I'm writing with firsthand knowledge, but I learned, everything I've learned, like, there's about 10% of the U.S. population that have passionate, amazing marriages. And when they take these people, and the research shows this very clearly in fMRI studies, and they take these people who say, I'm madly in love with my husband or my wife, and they've been married for 20 years, they put them in the fMRI, and they study their brain, and they put a picture of their spouse there, and the brain lights up the same way that newlyweds' brains light up. But at the same time, the part of the brain that has to do with security and lack of anxiety is lit up. So it's like two mints in one, So that is my model. That's what you shoot for. Most people feel like, oh my God, it's impossible for me, But that's the model that informs the work that we do. We look at where can it go? Where can love go, right? So, and we want to envision and shoot for the top. We shoot for the most incredible possibility. And then, of course, we have to stop listening to the monkey mind saying, no, I can't, you can't, oh, that's unrealistic. Oh, that's ridiculous. I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want The monkey mind starts jabbering, and it wants to sabotage. And the monkey mind wants to recreate whatever the pains or wounds you've had before. It's like it's going to happen again. Loss, abandonment, rejection, cheating, whatever the heck it is. And that is, of course, what you're up against. So it's envisioning. I like to talk about growth as being biphasic. You envision, and then you have to handle the backward pull, which is the mind's commentary based on the hurts from the past. And you envision again, and you have to keep working it that way. And if we have time, we'll go into an exercise that's very powerful in allowing you to jettison that monkey mind crap, that stinking thinking, that monkey mind crap that is tearing you down, holding you back.
Yeah, and it does in so many areas. So yeah,
every area. Yeah,
great to have a tool like that.
Yeah.
As you were talking about your fairy godmother and you meeting your husband and basically trying to sabotage it, but then staying with it because your fairy godmother said, no, just stick with it. The word that came from my head was trust. You were almost borrowing the trust of your fairy godmother in the feeling, the love that you were having from him, and you were trusting that feeling and trusting that if he could give you that love, then he's trustworthy and you're going to trust him and just act on what he was seeing.
Yes, it was borrowing the trust. Yes. In great coaching, you get to borrow the belief, the vision, the trust that the coach holds for you. The coach can see you in all your glory, in all your possibility, and you borrow that for a while. And then the miracle happens because you take it in. It's like, oh, I am wonderful. I do see the possibility. I do see it. We call this in our work the diamond self work. There's a diamond self process that we use that really fosters the self-love. And the fairy godmother coach really focuses on that, like the new self that builds on who you really are, all your quirks and your wonderful skills and possibilities of all the gifts you've been given, and everyone has them, and also who you want to be. And the fun of the diamond self process is you get to name yourself, instead of somebody else naming you, you get to name yourself, which is really amazing and really fun and really changes everything. When you name yourself and you stick to it and you anchor it in, it changes everything, not just love life, but your work life and everything. So, we've had women in our program name themselves Amazing Grace, Beloved Mighty Isis, Saucy Minx, Healing Prism of Light and Truth, Chosen Beloved Goddess, Playful Lioness.
It's fun, and I love that. To proclaim who you are, and just live into it.
Yes, exactly.
That is powerful. That is so powerful. Just the proclamation of the name is powerful.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I have this show that's now an Amazon Prime special with Love in 90 Days. It was originally a PBS show. And when I came in for the rehearsal for the PBS show, they said to me, okay, stay within your lines, follow the teleprompter, act totally natural, make jokes, be totally relaxed, deliver the payoff line into this face camera, but make sure you watch the clock and make sure you make contact with every area of the audience. And so I'd never been trained in performance. I mean, I had lectured, but not like this. And so I immediately had an incredible anxiety attack, like beyond, I was in terror, in a state of terror. So I asked one of my own coaches who I had trained the diamond self process with me in the green room. And she worked with me for quite a while, actually. And so what we created was my diamond self name and identity. And we got rid of all the doubt. We got rid of all the fear. We got rid of all the thoughts, I can't do this, all the terror. We got rid of it. And my diamond self name was, and still is to this day, the radiant beacon of loving guidance.
I love that.
Yeah. So I went out as I was about to go out to the show, to do the show. My executive producer grabs me by the arm and she's nervous and she says, I just want you to know that our whole show rests on you.
Oh my
And I look at her and I say, no worries.
God.
And so, of course, the Radiant Beacon of Loving Guidance did the show perfectly.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I couldn't, but the Radiant Beacon knew what to do. And it was amazing. It was amazing. 3 women got married who were just in that studio audience alone, not to mention across America. One of them was the PBS pledge woman who asked for the money to be sent into PBS. And she said, you know, I've never been married. I need to try this. And I found her, helped her find the love of her life in 60 days. And the whole thing was written up in the New York Times. But it was amazing, amazing, amazing. But there's something very amazing when you go into your diamond self-identity. It's beyond the ego. It's beyond the normal limits of what you think you can do or who you think you can be. You know, I mean, at the end of that, for me, who was raised mute and frightened to death of everything, I actually fell to the stage crying. I was weeping in gratitude. You know, I was like, what? And that's now available on Amazon Prime for free if anybody wants to take a look at it. With Love in 90 Days. So.
Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. And so, you know, we talk about proclaiming and living into it, but then when we're at home in our bathroom and we have to get ready for a date and we're thinking, I look too fat in this shirt and my hair's not right and my makeup's not right and maybe I won't be smart enough for this guy or maybe he won't think I'm pretty enough. I mean,
I'm too old. I'm too fat.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Like I've gotten too old. I mean, what do you do? How does this diamond exercise work? How do we get so that we're not thinking about those negative things and proclaim that and actually believe it for ourselves, even when we're seeing imperfections?
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, you know, let me just say that we see these imperfections that other people do not see, of course. You know, this is like in our minds, you know, we're talking to ourselves in ways that you would never talk to a friend or somebody you loved, you know. I call this commentary from the disappointing self or the monkey mind. And so this is a perfect time to teach you this exercise because the diamond self, basic diamond self exercise we can do today to establish your name, but also you can repeat it at any time when the monkey mind or disappointing self is going. So, so why don't we just do that? I'll teach you the exercise. Okay. So if you would just follow along, and then everyone who's watching or listening follow along. I'd like you to close your eyes. And remember a time that you felt lovable and loving and good about yourself at home in the world and smart and clever and just great. And it could be any age. It could be when you were really little. It could be when you were a bit older. If you have any difficulty finding this, you can imagine what it might be like to feel that way. So do you have your scene, Kimberly? Yes.
Yes, I do.
And imagine you're looking through your own eyes in the scene. And now I want you to imagine that it has some colors. Look at the colors in the scene. And feel the good feelings in the scene. And give it some sounds. You might even hear some music. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now make it 5 times better.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. This is your diamond self. And now I'd like you to give your diamond self a nickname. You know, it could be angelic, beloved, chosen, goddess of light. It could be, any name. Amazing Grace, Saucy Minx, Sparkalicious One, Wonder Woman of Light and Beauty.
I love that one. Yeah.
Ooh, Wonder Woman of Light and Beauty. I actually was getting that from seeing you there, kind of in the sky. Wonder Woman of Light and Beauty. So you like that one?
I love that one. Actually, in the past, I have proclaimed myself the light of magical healing and love in the world.
Wow.
But I kind of like that Wonder Woman one.
Well, we could always work with your previous diamond self name, and just add Wonder Woman to it too.
We could.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now I want you to shrink the image of the diamond self and make it the size of a hand grenade and put it to the side in your imagination. And get a feeling of being your disappointing self, a time when you felt rejected or fat or old or unlovable or unwanted or betrayed.
Okay.
Got it? Good. Very good. Now I want you to take that hand grenade that's off to the side in your mind and throw it into the center of the disappointing self and blow it to smithereens.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Now, instant replay. I want you to do it 5 more times, but really fast. Take that grenade, throw it into the disappointing self, blow it up 5 times, very fast.
All right. Yeah.
Yes.
It's blown up.
Now,
It's
is
blown
it
up.
harder to get a feeling or image of the disappointing self?
No, there's just a beach where it was, but it's gone. Beach is there, but everything else is blown up.
Now you can do that as many times as you need to actually handle the monkey mind or the disappointing self. You can do it before a date, you can remember this feeling great and who you are. And then if there's any chatter, you just take that, make it a grenade and throw it in there and explode it until there's nothing there. And then the person is ready, the real being you want to be. You are truly the Wonder Woman of light, love, and truth. So go ahead and open your eyes.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
I just feel ready to take on the world.
Yes. So this is the kind of exercise I was doing with the coach in the green room. Yes. So now the interesting thing is to anchor it in even more. So you're going to write it down. You can write it either as an affirmation, I am the Wonder Woman of light, love, and truth, or just the name. You can put it near your computer, you put it in your closet, you put it on your refrigerator, and all is necessary is to put your attention on it just for a few seconds each day. You don't have to concentrate on it or anything like that. You just put your attention on it just briefly. Also, here's the really fun part. You get to go shopping and you dress the Wonder Woman of light, love, and truth. Which I always had a lot of trouble going shopping because I always felt so ugly and all this stuff, growing up. And when I started doing the diamond self work, it was like, oh, the radiant beacon wants to wear that. Oh, the radiant beacon likes this.
I just love this.
Yeah. Like she likes to wear this color, this particular. Oh, the other thing is jewelry. Buy some jewelry that actually reflects, your name, your new name. Like this is for me, the radiant beacon of loving guidance. This is actually a metal necklace. It's made out of metal. It doesn't look like it in the video.
Right.
But it actually has to do with strength. And it's across the throat chakra for speaking my truth, right? So it's strength across the throat chakra. And then, of course, the heart, and it's a big old fat. Mm-hmm. See, I wouldn't have bought this before. It's a big old fat crystal heart.
Well, I love the look. It looks awesome.
I say, I love it too. The miracle is that I love it too. I say, but thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Oh, this is just so powerful. So, when you're working, you mentioned like the labs when you were working with people. How does that work, and how are you figuring things out when you're working with people that way?
Well, right now I don't do anything directly anymore. I just supervise my love mentor coaches, and it's just a fabulous, fabulous thing. I mean, we actually have a team focus sometimes of different cases. So because there are different issues for different people. In other words, if you are living in a very rural area, you kind of know everybody. It's very hard sometimes to date. And then sometimes if you're very, very smart and successful, it's much more challenging to find a match because you need somebody who's smart, who's making a difference in the world, who's, kind of like you. And so there are different challenges. And right now we have a living lab that is my team, my hand-picked team, so it's really exciting and really fun, so we're always creating and thinking out of the box, that way.
Mm-hmm.
But we always base everything on research, like there's particular research on attracting men. Wearing red attracts more men. If you're in your online profile, if you're making eye contact and smiling, you're rated as more beautiful. If you have a moderate amount of makeup, not too much and not too little, you're rated as more beautiful. And these simple little things actually increase your numbers quite a bit. I mean, women can get very annoyed, but the truth is that if you're going to use an app or you're going to use a site, you do have to understand these things and how to make it work for you. You don't want just 100 people to see you, you want thousands of people to see you, And there's a way to actually make the search engine on these sites put your thing up more frequently, your profile, stuff like that, really practical stuff.
So what I'm hearing is you have the secret sauce.
I should be by the time, after all the time I've spent. If I don't have it now, I don't know.
I mean, I'm curious. Like 90 days it's a lot of time, but it's not really a lot of time.
It's not. No, but it depends on where you're starting. Obviously, you're starting if you're starting from a hermit, it's not going to be 90 days. What happens at least in 90 days is you have self-love, at least. If you're coming from a situation, let's say, where you're dealing with heartbreak, extreme heartbreak, or extreme betrayal, or you're a hermit, you're going to move forward in terms of self-love first, which is what you want, and then you get into dating, quality people. But it can be done in 90 days. As I said, my PBS pledge host did it in 60. She met him in 60 days. So, and they're deliriously in love. I just got a, one of those letters, those Christmas letters with all the pictures of what the family's doing. I just got that from her. It's so adorable. I mean, he really is the prince. I mean, they're traveling in Europe and they're dressed up going to this fancy event. I mean, he really is the prince with her.
Oh, wow. We all want to meet our Prince Charmings and our princesses and live happily ever after. So what about when people continue to choose the wrong people, or for the wrong reasons? Sometimes you're attracted to somebody for one thing, but they're not really the greatest life partner.
Well, a lot of the time, you may be attracted to a narcissist or an alcoholic or a pretty boy or a player, and I call these the deadly dating patterns. I have a whole chapter about it in my book, Love in 90 Days, various patterns, and you really have to break your pattern. I say date against type. Date against type. So if you're going for the good-looking tall guy, Oh, for the short guy. Because love almost always comes in a surprise package. That's the truth, you know. That's the truth.
Mhm.
So, you know, you want to understand that and not delimit yourself and not shoot yourself in the foot. You know, really date against type. Date against type.
So what you're saying is walk into the unknown,
Yeah.
choose someone that you're not really sure about, and
Yeah.
just play and experiment and see what happens.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I look for 3 criteria in choosing a guy to date, or a girl, really. But I'll just frame it in terms of from the girl's perspective. Or the woman's perspective. 1, is he crazy about me? That's number 1. You're not going to make anybody love you. You know, they have to be crazy about you. They're eager to see you, reluctant to leave you. They think you're very special, right? They don't want to date other people. Number 2, is he willing to grow? There's no perfect guy, but if he can tell you what he did wrong in his previous relationships, he's been in therapy, he's been in coaching, he takes growth courses or whatever. He's in a 12-step group. Is he working on himself, you know? Because he's not going to be perfect, but if he's working on himself, he could grow into an amazing match. Amazing, you're right. And then number 3, is he meeting the basics? There's got to be some chemistry. Is he socioeconomically where you need him to be? You know, not because of being a snob, but because you need a partner. You know, what are his values and visions for the future? You know, they have to go with yours. You know, meeting the basics. So those are the 3 questions. It's not how handsome is he, or is the chemistry over the top? Because we don't want it to be over the top initially, because a lot of times that just flames out, or the guy's a player, you know. You know, it's those kinds of questions that will set you up to have a great love relationship, crazy about you, willing to grow, similar goals, values, and, you know, speaking the same language. That sets you up for a lasting, passionate love. Because in a lasting, passionate relationship, you're growing, you're always growing. Me and my husband, we've been through many different iterations of, like, I mean, you know, we were teammates working as psychologists, and, you know, and he was doing business consulting and I was doing just different, we're like different people, different iterations of growth, you know. And that's why it's fresh, actually. That's why it's interesting, you know. Otherwise, it can get deadly boring. You want to grow. You want to grow as a person. You want your partner to grow, and you want to help each other grow. Even more importantly, support each other's evolution.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. So, talking about that, you know, you talked about, you know, you kind of were doing your thing, your husband was doing his thing. How do you create that intimacy, that strong intimacy that's so desired, yet be your own person, not get lost into the other person, or into the, you know, some people are just inseparable. It's like they don't even, you can't tell where one starts and when ends.
Well, you know, there's something called listening sessions that are really powerful once a relationship is formed. You can do these listening sessions with each other, which is really interesting, which allows you to process you. These are listening sessions where one partner just listens like a reflective therapist, and the other one gets to talk for 10 minutes with whatever comes to mind. And so when they're talking, and my husband and I did this for years, we don't need to do it anymore, but we used to formally do that. Like, let's do listening session. So when a person's talking, they're getting in touch with their dreams, right? You know, I really feel like I want to spread love around the world and write this book. And so the person's listening, right?
Mhm.
And then it reverses. So he says, you know, I really want to be a, well, what he became is a business consultant, and, you know, I really want to learn how to do different types of investing, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm And so you have then a kind of a mechanism to flow back and forth and support each other's dreams. You want to support each other's dreams. That allows you to not lose yourself in the relationship because you're supporting each other's dreams, which by definition, they're different, different. Each partner has a different dream, usually. I mean, sometimes there's a shared mission, but so you want to do things like that. And it goes without saying, you want to try to maintain your network of friends, which is not, when you're in a very deep love relationship, which is not easy to do sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So everybody's busy with their families and their, get together sometimes with those old girlfriends and stuff.
Yeah.
So, in all your years of working with people, have you ever had something that came up and surprised you, or you got an aha moment, or you said, wow, I didn't realize this until I saw it or heard it?
I think I've had many of those. And then that's, it's important to be open and fresh and understand things at a different level. I mean, I certainly didn't foresee the app culture, the Tinder and all that stuff, and Bumble, and I didn't foresee that. I didn't foresee how crazy it would become with this business, with so many people dating digitally, and how draining and horrible that can become. And the reality is that even when someone expresses interest in you on an app, 49% fall away. 49%. Okay? They've already expressed interest in you, but they're disappearing. That's why you can never take this personally. You cannot take any kind of digital dating personally right now. I think there's about 200 million people every month dating digitally worldwide or more. And it's a culture, it's a fickle, fast-moving culture. And what happens is that sometimes someone will, have somebody disappear, or many people disappear. 3 people are interested, they're gone. And they don't realize that that's just the name of it, the name of the game. It has nothing to do with them personally, nothing, but they take it personally. Oh my God, I cannot do this. I'm over the hill, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I can't attract love anymore. There's something wrong with me, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is the nature of dating now. The nature of dating now is it's a very fast numbers game. And so the only way to go into it is to understand it's a numbers game and to be ruling people out. You want to be ruling people out. You want to lower expectations, right? And rule people out, because you want to sort through 100 people to get to the great ones, right? Oh, good. Let's get rid of that. Oh, that one disappeared. Good. That one disappeared. Good. Oh, great. Get rid of them. Okay. And it sounds crazy because that I'm a stand for the possibility of meeting super great partners. But the paradox is you have to lower your expectations to not get burnt out in the meantime. In the meantime, you don't want to get burnt out. It's very easy to get burnt out. You see somebody, their photo's fantastic, the little profile is so cute, they're just darling, and what they're texting and messaging, and then they're gone. So it's like, good, next.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, I actually tried to go on one of those. I think I lasted 3 weeks, and I'm like, oh no, this is not for me.
Yeah. No, it can be very difficult. I mean, so, and the other thing is that, with all this craziness happening, it's great to really learn how to meet people offline these days. It really, really is. And I have a whole section about that in Love in 90 Days. I'd like women to go to what I call mentastic activities. These are activities that you love that have lots of men in them. You just have to have lots of men, not singles activities, you understand, because singles activities can get dreadful. Like you're competing, you're not chosen, you're not going to be chosen. Oh my God. You don't want that. You want to go to things that you love. You're going to go hiking. You're going to go biking. You're going to go to investment classes, whatever floats your boat, wine tasting, cigar tasting, things that have men in them, investment classes, artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And there you have something in common, and it's fantastic. There's one woman in our coaching program, and she went to a wine tasting event and met two amazing guys. Well, is now with one of them. They have an amazing time. They go on a lot of vacations and stuff and do exotic wine tasting tours and stuff. And she loved wine tasting. So a fantastic activity is something that really floats your boat, co-ed sports teams or something like that happens to have men in them. And you go and you're having a good time and your light is on because you're really enjoying yourself. So it's easy to meet people and they're seeing you at your best. You're happy, you have something to talk about. It's fantastic.
Yeah, actually, I have some friends that she is from Canada, way up in Canada, like Alberta, and he's from California, but they both loved this kind of, I don't know if they're jumping out of planes or hang gliding, but either way, they both loved it. They met each other, and now they're in a relationship, and they live at her house half the time in Canada and his house half the time in California. So they both have their own lives, their own businesses. But that's the one thing that brought them together that, they loved.
Yeah, great example. That's a great example of a fantastic activity. Great example. Yep, yep. So yeah, you look, you can look at meetup.com, you can Google online for different, whatever your interests are, but not necessarily yoga or personal growth, because it tends to be more women, you would find more women there. Mm-hmm. Generally things that are more challenging attract more men. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Well, I know there are so many of our listeners that would love to meet the love of their life as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. So why don't you tell us about, you told us about your website. Where can they find you? How can they hook up with your coaches? Get your book?
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. Okay, the website is lovein90days.com. That's lovein90days.com. And the really amazing thing is that at this point, you guys can have a free 40-minute session by phone or Skype with one of these coaches. And I use one of them, as I told you, in my PBS show. So you could work on your diamond self, fantastic activities. I'll get a little fairy godmothering in. So here's the thing. If you want to set that up, go to lovein90days.com, click on the coaching tab. Now here's the important part. When you fill out the form, say Kimberly sent me. You have to say Kimberly sent me, because sometimes we get inundated with requests for sessions and we have to turn people away. But if you put in Kimberly sent me, you will definitely get your session. So I would absolutely take advantage of that ASAP. Are you going to put a link for that underneath the the show notes?
Put that in the show notes.
Okay, awesome. And definitely, get yourself a copy of Love in 90 Days. It's back up here. This is basically your roadmap. Chock full. Is it currently on sale? I don't know how long it'll last, for like $9. On Amazon. That's on Amazon, at least in the US.
All right. That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and for all your wisdom and funny stories and help. And I got my Wonder Woman name now. So
yes!
Very excited about that.
I love it.
Yeah. So tell me, for you, what gives you the most happiness, joy, fulfillment in your life right now?
What gives me the most happiness is when I get to see the wedding pictures from the people who have been using Love in 90 Days or in the coaching program. And it's so amazing. It just gives me chills every time. And every single time, it's so delicious. In fact, I just saw one yesterday, It's so sweet. It just was so sweet. And every couple is so different. And it's so touching, And that is my joy.
Wow. And what's your best advice for having a life of happiness and fulfillment?
My best advice is to absolutely go for it. Whatever you can dream, you can create. So just go ahead, go for it, go for it, go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Diana.
Well, lots of love to you, Wonder Woman of love, joy, and light. And to all you diamonds out there as well.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, take care. Thanks.